degree and in medical school. So this pigment, the more you have, the greater the potential to cause white genetic annihilation. Do you see? So the people who have the greatest potential have to have more stress put on them. That's like if you go to any prison, the people are at the end, at the more crystal black end of the color spectrum. Do you see what I'm saying? Meaning that you're more of a threat the more pigment you can produce at a genetic determining level. The less you have, the less threat, meaning it's been watered down some, right? Okay. So, when I was at Antioch, the first year I was there, I come from the south side of Chicago. It's a ghetto in Chicago. Used to be, still is more or less. When I went to Antioch, that was the first time I had been around large numbers of people who classify themselves as white. And I came back from lunch one day, and I saw it was April. I was still cold. I had my jacket on like I was sitting in there with my coat on, a scarf on around my neck. I was still cold, but I saw all these bodies on the lawn. And I actually said, what are they doing? I mean, I had never quite seen that. And then it clicked in, oh, tanning. Now that was in the 1950s, but it wasn't until I decoded this thing I said, tanning. Oh, tanning. Tanning is actually activating the production of this pigment. If people's skins are white, there is a deficiency of the enzyme tyrosinase, Tyrosinase. There are cells that are called melanocytes. Their job is to produce melanin, but it requires the presence of the enzyme tyrosinase. If the tyrosinase is missing, and when it's missing, it is referred to as a genetic deficiency state. This is not Cress Welsing's terminology. A genetic deficiency state, the absence of tyrosinase, and that leads, biology says that's albinism. That's just skin whiteness. Doesn't matter whether it's a mouse, a roach, or a tiger. The failure of the melanocyte, because everybody, whether we're white, black, brown, red, we all have melanocytes. It's a question of what the melanocytes are capable of doing. And so I said, now I understand tanning. Because every spring, the dermatologists, white dermatologists say, stay out of the sun. Stay out of the sun because you will what? Cause skin cancer. But when they first started having the sun tanning parlors, how many people remember some years back, you see, when they commercialized, you didn't have to get a tan in summer. You could keep your tan year round, but you had to go and get exposed to ultraviolet rays, and it would produce a tan. And Time magazine did an article interviewing people exiting the sun tanning parlors, and somebody was interviewed and said, aren't you afraid of getting cancer? If you get cancer, you'll die. And the person said, at least I'll be a good-looking corpse. Now that, while that is going on one side of the railroad tracks, this sometimes being the demarcation of where black people live and where white people live. On one side of the track, the people are trying to get a tan. And on the other side of the track, the people are being taught
Good black is back.
The more tan you have, the uglier you're supposed to be. Now, this is critical for mental health. See, we have gone through the so-called civil rights, black power movement, black is beautiful. Now we're back in 1994-5, and people are coming into my office and paying me. Dr. Welsing, my daughter is depressed. She says she's too dark and nobody likes her. Is that, what do you mean, full of See, mental health means you don't lie to yourself. See, if you lie to yourself, we call that psychosis. That would be like me saying, I'm Queen Elizabeth. And so you say, well, poor Dr. Welsing. So no, this is the way we think. And anybody who lies to me, all I have to do is say, do you have any children at home? And I said, bring your child to see me, free. And I just ask the little children, give them a whole spectrum of colors from crystal black to near white. And all I say is, what's mommy's favorite color? Is it? Or sweetheart, what color doll do you want? And the little child will go right directly and point at what they have been taught. The question is, does this society teach the love and admiration of crystal black?
No.
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 You don't see crystal black represented on TV unless it's being a clown and being degraded. You don't see it in a magazine. You don't see it in a newspaper. Just go home and monitor your TV, pick up any magazine, pick up any book that you want. But check it. This melanocyte is described not by Francis Welsing, by the cell biologist, as the second most sophisticated cell in the human body. Second only to the Betz, B-E-T-Z. It could be B-E-S-T, but it's B-E-T-Z. Those are the cells in the cerebral cortex that we use to think with. But the melanocyte, that is a product of the nervous system, just like the skin is the outermost manifestation of the nervous system. The melanocyte is described as the second most sophisticated cell in the human body. Melanin is a highly complex molecule that when nature spends a lot of time making it, it means it has some special work for it to do. But we won't go into that right now. We got to go back. So once I understood, this is it. All these problems. You see, nobody in the society with any power talks about racism. See, and we've got a movement going on now. We don't talk about racism anymore. We talk about multicultural, multicultural diversity. And if you use this word, we say, this is hate speech. You see, but these are just skill games.
That's right.
To what I tell children in the playroom. You see, if they don't want to deal with something important, they go in, a little child would just change the subject on you, try to get you going away from that which is stressful to talk about. And I say, sweetheart, that's a diversionary tactic. Let's try to come back. You see, but adults also play. Diversionary, get them running off, give them some words. Multicultural, I think that means on Tuesday we eat soul food. On Wednesday we have tacos. On Friday we eat food from Eastern Europe. You know what I'm saying? You see, and we like to eat, so we fall for that.